there right
Okay.
now, but I'll forward it to you.
Okay, thank you. What are they doing?
Yeah, filter
Yeah,
replacement.
like carbon, ozone stuff.
No, carbon, not ozone. It's different.
That's the,
Wouldn't mind seeing that.
No, ozone's still at the water. This is the next step.
last meeting was wastewater.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon, everyone. If you could please join me and stand, and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining me in the pledge. I now call this meeting to order. And at this juncture, Tina, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Young,
Present.
Vice Mayor Wilcox.
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Present.
Commissioner Murphy,
Present.
Commissioner Slattery.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. All right, at this time, it is time for our public forum. Persons who wish to address the City Commission regarding items that are not on the agenda. Again, if you wish to, please come in, sir, and have a seat. If you wish to address something that is on the agenda, you must wait until that time. But this time is for citizens to be able to speak about issues that are not printed on the agenda. And you may do so when you are called upon by the mayor. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should give their name and address when addressing the commission. Any presentation is for informational purposes only. Any and all written communication should be deposited with the city clerk right over here. So I will open the public forum at 4:31. All right, is there anyone here who would like to address the city commission on items that are not on the printed agenda? Yes, ma'am. Please come up and state your name and address, please.
Martha Walker, 623 Laramie. Basically, I just have a question. My husband and I moved here almost 4.5 years ago from Phoenix, so I'm still trying to get to know how the city works, and I'm curious how say, a meeting that's about property taxes, for instance, how that is announced to the public. Does something come in the mail? Because if it came in the mail, I missed it.
Okay.
No, you will get something in the mail from this meeting. So that's kind of a bit of a misconception is the meeting tonight is not making any decisions about property taxes, which is why you didn't receive anything in the mail.
Okay.
Tonight, we are setting the hearing date for when we will make those decisions later on this, early in the fall.
After this decision is made or before the decision is made?
I'm not sure what you mean.
You said there's another meeting.
Yes.
Is that to announce that the decisions have been made, or?
That is the public hearing.
Public hearing.
To finalize
Okay.
what the tax rate will be for next year.
Okay, I just happened to, by accident, I don't get on Facebook
Sure.
very often. I just happened to see it yesterday. I'm like, well, you know, I don't get on Facebook very much. I don't even want to get on Facebook, so I don't really think that's a valid way of announcing it to the public. But
Sure.
you're
We
saying,
also post these on the city website, and we can.
yeah, but you'd have to go to that
We-
every day and to see if there's a meeting.
If you want a notice emailed to you for when every meeting takes place, you can also request that, and we can send it to you.
But the one about the property taxes, you're saying that would be sent in the mail?
Correct. That is a
Okay.
state form you will get.
Okay.
It will include the public hearing dates for the city, for the county, the school district, and any other taxing entity that your
Okay.
property is part of.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Are they all not also in the newspaper?
That will also be published in the
No, I
newspaper
mean,
as well.
this meeting.
Yes.
This meeting was, yes.
All meetings are in the newspaper.
Also on the radio.
And out.
So we do put it out, but on multiple places other than Facebook. But the important note is that the important meeting about setting the property taxes for next year, that's what they're setting the date for today. which then goes to the paper and goes out in the state form to every address in the city and the county, actually, so. In the mail, that's correct.
But every meeting is not, you're not mailed and notice.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Anyone else wishes to speak on the public forum? Okay, before we close, if I may just reiterate that if you wish to have emails, please send your email. You can leave your email address with our city clerk. Okay? All right, anyone else? All right, if not, we are going to close the public forum at 4:34. It is closed, and Mr. Westhoff with our new business regarding resolution number 3456 regarding the governing body's intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate and setting a public hearing.
Correct. So as I stated, I'm going to pull up what the folks in the room have as a handout, but also up on the screens in case we didn't have enough copies. So just kind of reiterate what I was just explaining, but the budget process in the state of Kansas is defined by a statute from 2021 where the state created this revenue neutral rate process that we're starting tonight. So any city, county, school district that thinks they might go over revenue neutral for the following year, which means in overall they're going to collect more tax revenue than they did the current year, has to start this process. There has to be a public hearing set. The deadline for that public hearing must be completed and sent to the county by September 20th of that year. And then the deadline to set that public hearing is July 20th, which is why we're here tonight on July 13th to set the meeting, which will we're proposing to set that meeting for September 8th, and that's what we'll discuss tonight, the location, date, and time of that public hearing. The second item that you have to do tonight, if you're going to set a public hearing to consider going over revenue neutral for the next year, you also have to self-impose a maximum amount, a ceiling. Last year, the city set that ceiling, I think it was around 4%, and came in at the final hearing around 2.5%. So we are required to set a maximum so everyone knows we absolutely cannot go over this amount even at that public hearing later in the year. This is the absolute maximum that the city could possibly levy. That's an amount you will get on that mailer from the city, the county, and the school district, as well as the Recreation Commission and any other taxing entity you are a part of. You will get that piece of paper in the mail. It will show everyone's ceiling that they have set for the next year, and then the date and time of those public hearings. So that's what we're looking at tonight. After this, the city staff will continue to meet with the City Commission to look and fine-tune the proposed budget for 2027, which then obviously impacts the mill levy for 2027. Then on August 14th, I will present the proposed budget to the City Commission and to the public. So then it will be public for 3 weeks. For anyone, it will be published in the newspaper. We will post it on the city website. We will post it online in multiple places. People can review that before the public hearing, which at this time is proposed for September 8th. I'm sorry, that's August 17th. August 14th is when it will be published in the paper. The 17th is when I will present it here to the City Commission and to the public. That is an extra step that the city has taken. It's not required by the state process. We do that step to increase public transparency for having that proposed budget out to the public, the final proposed budget, for several weeks before the actual public hearing, so people have a chance to review it. So then that public hearing, if you all don't make any changes tonight, would be set for September 8th, 4:30 p.m. here at City Hall. And then we would file that with the county afterwards by the deadline of September 20th. Next slide, Tina. I handed out this pamphlet, just a few primers on how property taxes in the state of Kansas work. So there are 3 aspects of your property tax bill for any individual property. The first is the appraised value. This is set by the county appraiser. They use formulas. You can ask them which formulas they use for your property. It depends on if it's residential, commercial, agricultural, and then what kind of, or possibly industrial. They use the condition, the location, and comparative sales for properties of that type. So that's the total appraised value. It's something you get in the mail every year from the county appraiser, letting you know of the appraised value, and you have a chance to dispute that with the county appraiser if you disagree with it. That number is multiplied by the assessment rate, which is set by the state of Kansas. For residential properties, that's 11.5%. So you take the appraised value times 11.5%, and you get the assessed value. This is ultimately the value of a property that is allowed to be taxed by any taxing entity that it belongs to. So if your house is located within the city limits of Atchison, that is the Atchison County, City of Atchison, USD 409, Atchison Recreation Commission, and sometimes you're part of other districts like watersheds or cemetery districts. There's not very many of those in the city of Atchison, but there are a few. So then you have the assessed value for the property, and then that is multiplied by the mill levy that is set by each of those entities to come up with what that final property tax value or property tax bill is. A mill is equal to $1 for every $1,000 of assessed value. For the revenue neutral rate, which is ultimately the mill levy that each taxing entity sets, or excuse me, the guiding number that is given to us by the state for the mill levy that would allow you to collect the exact same amount of revenue as you did the year before. Like I said, that comes from the state. They tell us, they look at how much we have collected the year before, the appraised value for our city, and they say if you collect the same amount of money, this is the mill levy that you need to set. The revenue neutral rate for the city of Atchison, as appraised value goes up for the city, the revenue neutral rate falls every year. So the city has allowed our mill levy, has voted in the last 4 years, as you can see on that chart, for our mill levy to come down so that we're getting closer to that revenue neutral rate than if we kept the mill levy the same. At the same time, the city's share of any resident's tax bill has also gone down. About 5 years ago, we were around 30% of the tax bill that a resident paid came to the city. Now we're closer to 24%, which is on that chart there. There's a brief calculation at the bottom if you want to kind of take a look at a typical home in the city of Atchison, how much of the tax bill comes to the city each year. Next slide. Okay, so I mentioned appraised value. The total appraised value within the city limits of the city of Atchison from 2025 to 2026 went up 5.5%. That does not mean that each individual property went up 5.5%. Some may have gone up more, some may have not gone up at all. And then it also doesn't, so that number includes new construction. It includes properties that were on a tax rebate, and then now they're paying full taxable tax. So that 5.5% is not just, the annual increase that the appraiser looks at your property and says, well, comparable homes have gone up, so your appraised value goes up. The appraiser looks at every house within the county every 3 years by state statute. They have to check every property within the county every 3 years and make an adjustment. But they also make adjustments when somebody makes an addition to their house or when somebody builds a new house. That's new appraised value that goes into this 5.5%. So if the city did nothing, if we kept our mill levy exactly the same as in 2025, we would receive 5.5% more revenue next year overall. Again, that doesn't mean we're receiving 5.5% from every property, but overall across the whole city, it would be 5.5%. Instead, we are proposing a maximum. Again, tonight, one of the things we have to do is set a ceiling, set a maximum of 3.02%. The final amount is likely to be even lower than that, as it has been in the last few years. We set a ceiling, and then we endeavor to come in below that. This continues the same trend of the city cutting the mill levy every year since 2020. The average increase over revenue neutral from 2020 to 2026, plus the maximum that we're setting for next year, is 2.28% per year, the chart there. The largest increase in one year was 5.5%. We had 2 years where the city was actually revenue neutral. That was in 22 and 24. And then the other 2 years were around 2% per year. Next slide. So I updated on the one sheet, you have, that is the current year, 2026 chart for a taxpayer within the city of Atchison. This is a projection for next year. So it's your 2026 taxes paid in 2027, okay? So this chart includes the amount the county announced actually today. They announced that they are intending to be revenue neutral next year, so that includes that amount that they announced. It also includes the maximum amount that the city is looking at here at 3.02%. So realistically, our share would be likely even lower than this because we are not anticipating to hit that maximum. And I'm taking an educated guess with USD 409. They have not put forth their number yet. They have not made significant mill levy cuts in the past, so I was keeping theirs basically neutral going forward. So even with the county deciding to be revenue neutral next year, the large increases that they have had the last 5 years still leaves them with a 36% share of the tax bill for a resident in the city of Atchison, a 33% share going to USD 409, 24% to the city of Atchison, 4% to the Atchison Library, 3% to the Recreation Commission, and the state of Kansas removed their 1 mill this year, so it will now be at 0%. So again, that's a projection that will change, and I will endeavor to have better final numbers, especially for USD 409 and for our final number at the hearing on September 8th, as well as for the proposed budget on August 17th.
Mark?
Yes.
Could you repeat that again? Because does everyone have a copy of this sheet?
I tried to have enough copies. I think
Okay.
there's a couple more
Okay,
there.
all right. Could you repeat the colors so that everybody knows where that falls on the pie chart?
Sure. So the city is the green, light green. The county is the red. The USD 409 school district is the dark blue. Library is purple. Atchison Rec is light blue. And on the chart there for this year, the orange is the state's share, which they
will be-
removed for
right,
next year. So.
Okay. Thank you.
So tonight, again, the resolution before you does two things. One, it sets a public hearing for looking at that revenue neutral rate and setting the mill levy, setting the actual tax levy for next year. It sets that public hearing for September 8th at 4:30 p.m. here at City Hall. And it sets a maximum value for the rest of our budgeting process at 3.02% over revenue neutral from last year. Any questions from the commission for me?
No, you said that it will be September 8th at 4:30.
Correct.
Is-
That's the
okay.
proposed in the resolution. It's
Okay.
ultimately up to the city commission to set that date and
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And I will clear out if anyone has any questions or comments on the presentation and what the action tonight.
Okay, wonderful. So at this juncture, commissioners, do you have any questions?
Well, I might just say something about how did you get to this point?
Sure.
So the city staff had numerous hours of meetings to come up with a line-by-line budget. Then the city staff met with the commission. Did we have 5 meetings?
We have had 5 so far. We will have more.
Yeah, we've had 5 meetings, some of them as long as 4 hours, to evaluate city staff's budget requests and then come to what we propose to be the current budget. So it's not just walking here tonight and saying, hey, here's some numbers.
Right.
There's been a lot of hours by a lot of people that have, I think, very frugally and conscientiously considered each budget item. Do we all agree on all budget items? No. Okay, but I think the intent, I'm only going to speak for myself, is for the city to function efficiently and as economically as is possible. But given the fact that everybody experiences inflation, so does the city. And first, we started with the city staff, payroll and benefits, and then what do you need to do to maintain parks and streets and sanitation and water and all the things that we do have here that I feel are pretty good compared. Police and fire are primary part of that budget as well. So there's been a lot of time and thought that's gone into it, and I'm like most people. I wish my taxes were what they are, but there's also the reality of you have to pay for what you get. So,
And it's also not the final. This number tonight
Yeah.
is not the final.
but it's not like it's going to skew dramatically.
Well, it can't go over whatever the maximum
Yeah.
you set tonight, and we are, still working to find efficiencies and reduce that number.
Well said, Vice Mayor, well said. Anyone else on the commission? Commissioners?
I think this here makes a good explanation. I think the city staff and the commission both are very conscious of taxes and using them responsibly.
I would note again, in 2025, we came in, the budget that we set in 2025, we came in $300,000 under budget in the general fund. So we do also, we try throughout the year, no matter what the budget is, we still try to find efficiencies, underspend if we can, and we're not always just trying to max out that budget. And many items come before the city commission where you have obviously a say in that as well. So.
Anyone else? Okay, all right. With that being said, I know we have a number of people here. If you would like to ask a question, you certainly are able to. I would respectfully request that we keep comments to about 3 minutes if we can. But for those of you who would wish to address, if you have a question, please feel free to step to the microphone, and we will do our best to answer your questions. Would anyone care to say something? Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, sir. First you, and then you, sir. Okay.
All right, great.
And if you could state your name. And
Sure,
address.
Brian Ramirez.
Okay.
I live at 1300 North 15th Street here in Atchison. I guess I would start, the R&R to me doesn't make a difference because property values go up, so that's where you make your money back anyway. So I think that's kind of a no-brainer, whether you cut it or not. Our taxes are going to go up anyways. So as a taxpayer, I would like to know, since you've had 5 meetings where you've aggressively cut, I would like to hear more about that. As I believe in cutting taxes as much as possible and trying to limit as much spending as possible. So I'd like to hear more about that if possible. And I know I brought up in previous commission meetings, mainly with the county, but I know there's programs available primarily for investors. And Justin, you might be able to speak to this, I don't know, but there's been some exemptions made, to my understanding, where certain investors don't have to pay taxes for the first 10 years. So I'd like to know if that's been talked about with those investors, and if those investors are going to actually be paying taxes now, like the rest of us have to. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Mike.
Well, I can the very first comment you made, yes, appraisals are going up. As I said, average across the city was 5.5%, but the rate set by the taxing entities is ultimately the final piece of the calculation. So, for example, if appraisals across the city went up 5.5%, but every taxing entity, which I don't control the others, right? If every taxing entity was revenue neutral, then the actual amount collected across the city would not go up. Does that, so per property, it might go up or down, but overall, it would be flat. So it does still offset appraisals somewhat. Your appraisal could cause your property to go up more than the rate or down less than the rate, but it does offset the appraisal value that you get from the county to some degree. So I just wanted to say that part. Yeah. But the final budget will talk a lot more about places that we've cut or changed or, offset things with grants and things like that. This year, the biggest cuts that we had in operations were positions that didn't need to be filled. That the leadership decided this position we don't need, and so that was removed from the operational budget. The biggest things that go up are project costs because, as we talked about, concrete costs have gone up, paving, asphalt costs have gone up. Everything's slowly going up. So you try to offset that as much as you can with making cuts in other places. And your final question, I'm sorry.
Was the first 10 investments.
Oh, okay. So all of those eventually do come onto the tax roll, right? That program was reduced by about 50% this year. So going forward, the NRP will not be 10 years, it'll be 5 years. And it's available to everyone, not just investors as well. So anyone doing a project in the city is able to use that to offset the increased tax burden over the short term while still paying into it in the long term. However, I will say that when the appraisals go up 5.5%, right? If some of those are properties coming off of that program, right, and now hitting the tax rolls, but if we reduce the mill levy below that 5.5%, then the city isn't collecting all of that. Does that make sense?
I understand how that
Yeah.
program works.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm referring to.
Okay. What are you referring to then?
Understanding is paid for certain investors to the college don't pay tax for
Oh,
that program.
not that I'm aware of. Are you talking about the RHID, the housing project up there? Okay, so all of those individuals do pay taxes. All of those properties are part of the tax rolls. The way that the RHIDs work, which is what that section of town is that the private investor takes the risk up front to actually build public infrastructure on their dime, and then the increase in taxes collected within that district pays them back until it's paid off, and then it comes back fully on the tax rolls. So those properties are paying taxes. No, the developer paid for the streets. So the developer paid for the streets, the sewer lines, the water lines, all of that stuff up front, so we didn't have to take out a bond, right? And then the tax increase in that district, right? So whatever the tax base was, we still collect. But whatever increase happens because of that investment from them pays them back for that investment, and then it goes on the tax rolls once it's paid back.
I would just have a suggestion when a project like that happens,
Mm-hmm.
make that information.
Sure.
There's a lot of room for you.
Yep.
Very well.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, there was numerous meetings about that project here. And,
I understand. Nobody
and
comes to
what?
Nobody comes to these meetings.
Well, you can look at them online, you can,
Appreciate all you guys coming today.
In the
You know,
future, I promise if there's another project like that, I will get that word out.
It came across as very biased.
Sure. So,
You understand?
sure, I understand. The reality is those programs are helpful for the city as well because, like I said, we don't have to take out a bond to do that infrastructure. The risk falls on the developer. If those houses don't get built, they don't get their investment back, right? So that's less risk for us to get new homes built that will eventually, pay more into the coffers. And we don't have to take out a bond where the risk is on us if those homes don't get built.
It's just like the airport, it's just like
And you-
county maintenance,
Sure.
it's just projects like that.
Thank you.
Very
The
good.
city is gonna do a little bit on that one street, and then Laramie Street.
We're
Just a little
connecting,
bit.
so we're connecting a street to their development to make it easier for residents to get out of there and in and out of there. But that's the only thing the city's doing. It's
See,
about a
that-
half block of a street that we're going to put in, connected to it. But it's on our right of way. It's, it's our responsibility to do that street, so.
But the city, see, by doing that, the city takes just a little forest woods like and makes it a taxable unit down the road at some point.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good idea.
We'll do better to get that information out.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to address? Oh, yes, sir, please. And let us know your name and address, if you would, please.
Yeah, it's Max Berry, 1009 Parallel. My wife and I moved here in 2005 and purchased our property outright. Enjoy the property very much. We love old houses, and we got an old one. And at the same time, our appraisals and all of that continue to go up and up and up. We are now retired, basically, on fixed income. And that doesn't go up nearly as much as those things or inflation that we all are dealing with. And so it's getting to a point that it seems like a lot of us elderly folks, if you will, are just kind of getting priced out of the city. And before I get into that, one question about the budget that you guys talked about. At what point do you share those figures with the public as to where you're at any time in the negotiations, or is it only after you guys have come to an agreement of what the budget's going to be for?
Well, nothing's ever finalized until those hearings. That's the point of those hearings is to get feedback, and any change can be made at that meeting if the commission so chooses. As I mentioned, we'll publish those numbers in detail in the paper on August 14th, and I will present them at the city commission and have a PowerPoint where I get into the details of it. That will be presented and then public on August 17th. So that's 3 weeks ahead of that hearing.
Okay, so and I'm talking about the services themselves, the police and fire and
Yeah,
those
that's
kind
all
of
in
things.
there.
That's the budget I'm talking about.
That's all in there.
That's
Okay.
going to be on
Yeah.
there.
So that it is made known
Yes, yes.
We
reasonably.
went through that step by step, every unit.
Okay,
But the sad thing of it is, there was nobody came to the meetings.
yeah.
Well,
I
at
can
the same
tell.
time, though, I don't know how you would involve
Yeah.
everybody that wants a say,
Well, but,
because it's bad enough with just this group here,
right.
battling over each line item, much less say, hey, anybody wants to come and,
Some of us are just curious, that's
Sure.
all.
And,
You know,
and like I
because
said, that'll all be packaged together and public.
some people's services differ from, household to household. I mean, we have nobody in school, so obviously we're not as concerned with school costs, other than wish they weren't taking so much, because we don't have anybody in school.
and just so we know.
We
when
understand,
When
but-
this is published in the Atchison Globe, will it be a line for line budget?
That one goes department by department. The one I present and will publish out is line by line. Yes.
Okay, and you're presenting that on September?
On August 17th.
August
The reason
17th.
for that is just that it would take up the whole paper if we publish the whole line by line. So I will present that and it will be available though.
So at any rate, I mean, we understand how cities work, and for those who have watched the news and saw what happened in Kansas City, Missouri over the last couple of years, it gets pretty nasty. And, you don't like to feel like you're one of those that just got steamrolled, and all of a sudden you're presented with a tax bill on property that you have bought and paid for several times over, and you're being held to either pay this or we're taking your property. And that seems very unfair to me and unpopular. And when you're on a fixed income, though, what recourse do any of us have when it gets to a point where it's like, I don't have any more water to give? I mean, what are we supposed to do? Just wait until the letter comes that your property is being sold on the steps? Or is there a place to go for help? Or
There's a homestead property tax credit. Do you do that?
yeah, I'm aware of that, but that ain't gonna take.
$700
Yeah, that's not gonna take care of it. And I mean, we like Atchison. We love the house that we live in. And I know it's pricey everywhere. I mean, it's not like you can find some place where come live tax-free. No, that ain't happening. But at the same time, our house is still the same as it was when we bought it 20 years
It's worth a
ago.
lot more. It's worth more.
Well, theoretically it
If you
is,
sold
but
it,
we've
would.
tried over the years 7 times to sell it.
Yeah.
Couldn't sell it. Not even close to what it was appraised for. So, I know there are places out there that sell quickly and very close to appraisal and over appraisal sometimes, depending upon the market. It's not been our experience.
We don't want you to leave.
We don't want to leave. But, we also want to be able to afford to stay. And like I said, I mean, I know that the cost of living goes up for everybody. And if it went down for everybody, we'd all be doing a jig. But that ain't the case. So, I'm venting
Sure.
for the most part, because
Sure.
but at the same time, I think if you go on a individual's perspective, we do feel like we really don't have a say in this. What you guys and the state and the county all come up with, that's what's going to happen. And I can protest and march and do whatever, but shy of selling and moving or just not paying the bill until somebody moves me out, I don't have much recourse. So,
We certainly understand what you're saying. I don't want you to think that we're just arbitrarily deciding budgets. That's not what we do.
No, I know.
And I appreciate what you're saying because it is a concern, and we do understand that. And I think when you see our budget, when you have that, when you see it, you'll see where we did decrease some. And as Mark said, we decided not to pursue positions or fill positions because we know that everyone is hurting at this point. And so we're trying to do the very best, the very responsible thing that we can. But I do really appreciate your being honest with us.
yeah, I'm not accusing anyone of operating with bad intentions by any means.
Right, yeah.
Because we've met a lot of wonderful people here in town, and I assume that everybody is thumbs up for Atchison and what can we do to make it better and, more livable for everybody. And
I agree with everything you've said. I'm also retired, know what Social Security looks like, own a home. But if we took the things you said, I think we could plug in the name of any city
oh yeah,
from
I'm
coast
sure.
to coast, and we'd hear the same concerns.
I will say
And
that
whether it's property taxes, streets,
yeah.
those seem to be two of the biggest things that any city has concerns about, and we share those concerns.
Well, sure. Well, I mean, we're fortunate because we're a small enough town that it doesn't appear that we have that much crime and need for a huge police force that's, out and, knocking heads and locking people up every day. That's not the case here, and we like that part. We're not afraid to go out at night.
Right.
But at the same time, it all adds up, and so those are services that I think everybody kind of takes for granted if you don't use them, if they're not needed for your particular situation. Haven't needed the police a couple times in 20 years, you know. Fire department, never, you know, so.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly. So, but different places offer different challenges and different things that you want to be in that area for. So it's just, again, it's just frustrating because particularly like with the Social Security, because what was it, 2.5% or something, we got an increase?
So last year was
Last
2.5. So I will say, you mentioned the fixed income. That rate is something that we try to use as some kind of guideline.
Yeah.
We talked about it this year. The projection for next year is 2.8%.
Yeah.
Increase in Social Security. So we're trying to get around that for our share, right? We don't control your whole tax bill.
Well, no,
but-
and you don't, you know, are not responsible for our grocery list and
Sure.
utilities and things like that. It's, everybody deals with it, but at the same time, you add up and add up and add up, and eventually, I got no more to add,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So, anyway, thanks for taking
Thank
the
you.
time.
Thank you, thank you very much, thank you.
Appreciate the
We
comment.
need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, we do. We
sure.
absolutely do. We
But
absolutely.
you know, we got a little thing put out here by this league that we belong to. And it compared the cities, the tax rate, and the debt we carry, and a bunch of stuff. And actually, Atchison was in a really good position on that comparison, like-sized cities around us. I was really glad to see that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that. Does anyone else wish to speak at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Just another question, Martha Walker, 623 Laramie. The school was on there. Who makes the decisions on that?
The school
School
board.
board.
So you would go to the school board and,
Well, I say that. The school board makes the decision for about a third of their budget. The state sets 20 mills for every school district in the state. Every school district has 20 mills they cannot change. And then they set the rest of their budget, but it's mostly capital improvement. Their operating expenses come out of that 20 mills. That gets all sent to the State Department of Education and then divvied back out to the cities, or to the school districts, excuse me, based on their school population that they have and the resources they need. So they have a say over the capital improvement fund, and that's about it at the
Okay.
school district level.
I was just curious because I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, I lose track of the time, I saw a sign that said they were going to feed every single kid lunch.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's got to be a lot of money. And I wouldn't agree with that. I fed my own kids growing up, so I'm just curious, you know, how that
would be the
was
school
made.
board.
Okay.
That would be the school board, and I don't want
And
to
also the
overspeak.
state.
And federal, so there's federal dollars that do go toward that as well.
Okay. And then I just want to ditto what he said about, you know, I still work, I'm 68. My husband, he works, he's 65. He can never make a meeting. He travels a lot. I'm sure that's why a lot of people aren't here at 4:30. But, yeah, I mean, we moved from Arizona. I did not do our homework when we decided to move here. And the property taxes were double. Shocking. And I guess my thinking is, you know, if people weren't paying so much in property taxes, maybe they could take care of their houses. I mean, I see houses beautiful homes that need paint jobs and all kinds of things. I just think, you know what, maybe if they didn't have to pay so much in property taxes, they could take care of their property. Maybe that's, you know, idealistic, but that's just a comment I'd like to make, so, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
owned a home in Phoenix and gave it up because the cost of living was not comparable to here in any way. In any way.
All right, anyone else wish to speak at this time? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, we will move on. So the next portion of our new business is to adopt resolution number 3456. So I will move that we adopt resolution number 3456, authorizing the statement of intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate for submission to the county clerk and setting a public hearing related to the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate and the budget hearing on September 8th, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. Is there a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution number 3456. Are there any questions, commissioners? Comments, concerns? If not, we are ready for a vote. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, at this time, as we do not have anything further, is there a motion to adjourn?
I moved.
Okay, it sounds like that Commissioner Greenlee moved and Commissioner Slattery seconded that we adjourn. Any question? If not, all those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Mayor, I have one form for you to sign.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.